Sergio Perez is Max Verstappen's teammate at Red Bull, but how exactly did the Mexican get there? Did he only get his seat through money? And what does he think about being labeled as a pay driver? Stay tuned because all of that and more is coming right up. First, let's start with how he got into Formula 1. What were his results like in junior racing, and does he even deserve to be there? Sergio Perez, also known as Checo, grew up with racing in the family. His father was a racing driver who even competed in the NASCAR Mexico Series. He began karting when he was just 6 years old, where he had a number of victories growing up. He started his professional career in the US, where he competed in the Skip Barber National Championship. Unfortunately, he only finished in 11th place, but he wasn't put off. He wanted to go to Europe so that he could compete with the best of the best, but he didn't have the money for it. So he emailed and called teams until one team agreed to sign him, and then he got a one-way ticket over there. Then when he was just 14 years old, he moved to Germany to participate in the Formula BMW competition. This is a junior racing league that has been won by Formula 1 drivers like Nico Rosberg, Sebastian Vettel, and Nico Hülkenberg. He only finished 14th in the competition, and he had similar results in GP2, but he did win the British Formula 3 championship, so there must be something there. In 2011, he finally got the chance to race in Formula 1 with the Sauber team and got off to a flying start. He even ended up on the podium in Canada, which was the team's best result in 4 years. Next, who is Carlos Slim? Carlos Slim Helu is a Mexican businessman. His corporate portfolio takes almost half the entire Mexican stock exchange. He is worth over $70 billion and loves to spend it on real estate and philanthropy. His son, Carlos Slim Dammit, is also a businessman and a lifelong motorsport enthusiast. So what do you do with billions of dollars and an interest in motorsport? Well, if you're from Mexico, you might want to see a Mexican standing on the podium. The last time a Mexican driver won a Grand Prix was at the South African Grand Prix in 1967. So, how do you get a Mexican into Formula 1? First, you have to find the right driver. It was Sergio Perez's father, Tonio, who met Carlos Slim Dammit at a kart racing competition and invited him to watch Sergio drive. After seeing him drive, Slim Dammit decided to sponsor him, and he continues to sponsor him to this day. To drive with Sauber, Sergio brought him with the sponsorship of communications company Telmex, which the team said came with Sergio as a package deal. Carlos Slim Dammit is the chairman of the company American Mobil and the South American wing called Claro, which is a big sponsor of Red Bull. You can even see the sponsor on the rear wing of the car. After winning the first Grand Prix at the 2020 Secure Grand Prix, Sergio Perez gave his helmet to Carlos Slim Helu to thank him for his support. Yeah, it might take a few more helmets to pay him back all the money he's invested, but it's a good start, Sergio. What is a pay driver? Formula 1 is the sport of the rich, not only the top drivers and the wealthy spectators of the sport, but also on the way to Formula 1. It has been estimated that karting alone can cost a whopping $700,000. This is a big reason why some of the drivers we see today are from racing backgrounds. Drivers like Mick Schumacher and Kevin Magnussen come from fathers who were both Formula 1 drivers, and so they had more access to racing resources and sponsorships. But if you're not from a racing family, how do you make it into Formula 1? Well, have you considered being from a rich family? We live in a time where money talks more than ever. Lance Stroll's father, Lawrence Stroll, bought Force India, turned it into Racing Point, and put his son in one of the cars. And before he was kicked out of Formula 1, Nikita Mazepin secured a seat with a big sponsorship of the Haas team. You get the idea. There are more and more of these drivers every season. Okay, one more. Williams driver Nicholas Latifi also has a billionaire father who's worth a cool $2.5 billion. He put $200 million into the McLaren team in 2018 and clearly has some future plans for his son. You can see why Lewis Hamilton referred to F1 as a billionaire boys club that is impossible for regular kids to achieve. These kinds of drivers are referred to as pay drivers because their sponsors are basically paying for them to drive in Formula 1. What does Sergio think about the pay driver label? And what made Verstappen call him a legend? Don't go anywhere to find out. Now we have Sergio's achievements. In his first season with Red Bull in 2021, it was Perez's best year in the sport. He won a race in Azerbaijan and scored 4 more podiums throughout the season, but he could never really perform on the same level as Max Verstappen. Then again, no one really expected him to. In the final race of last year, it came down to the wire. The World Championship would be decided that evening between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton was leading the race, but when Hamilton pitted for new tires, Red Bull left Perez out in an effort to hold up Hamilton. And boy did it work. Hamilton took a long time to pass Perez, who was able to position his car perfectly every time. This allowed Verstappen to reduce the gap from 11 seconds to just 1 second and put him back in the fight. But some people pointed out that Sergio was not only keeping Hamilton behind him, but purposely slowing him down. Former Toro Rosso driver Sebastian Bourdais said that Perez used every dirty trick just to slow Lewis down. Whatever you think about the tactics, it was extremely effective. Verstappen called Perez a legend, and Christian Horner was impressed too. If he keeps up this defense of Max Verstappen, he could be at Red Bull for a long time into the future. So, what makes a pay driver? What does Sergio think about the pay driver label? When Nikita Mazepin joined Haas, team principal Gunther Steiner said there will always be pay drivers in the sport, but he thinks that drivers like Sergio Perez have proven that pay drivers can also be good drivers. Then when Sergio Sergio Perez joined Red Bull in 2021, team principal Christian Horner said that they were not focused on the sponsorship money that he brought with him. Instead, they said that opening up the Latin American market for Formula One was more important for them. Sergio has said that he understands why he has been called a pay driver, but that everyone needs a little luck to make it into F1. Well, it's more than a little luck, Sergio. You've had the support of one of the richest men in the world. Sergio thinks that he has proven himself in the junior racing categories and deserves to be there just like everybody else. And he might be right. As Gunther Steiner points out, most drivers make it to Formula 2 with sponsorships from some kind of racing team. And if it's not that, then it's their parents investing money into a racing team to make it possible. If we look back in history, you could even call legendary driver Niki Lauda a pay driver. He came from a wealthy family, but they didn't support his Formula 1 ambitions. And so, he went and got a $50,000 bank loan and bought his way into a Formula 2 team. This was his only way into the sport, and he would go on to become one of the greatest drivers of all time. Now, let's look at 2022 and the future of Perez. What does the future hold for Perez? After a double retirement at the first race of the season in Abu Dhabi, Red Bull have a lot of ground to make up. They are already behind in the championship, and they have some engine problems to fix as well. But even last year, Perez said that he felt like he had the chance to fight for the title. So if Red Bull can give him a competitive car, then he might have a fighting chance. But it's pretty clear that Max is their number one. Perez did a great job last season of defending against the Mercedes when he needed to. If he can do the same against the Ferraris this year, Red Bull could have back-to-back championships. There is no doubt that Sergio Perez would not be where he is today without the sponsorship of Carlos Slim and his son. But Sergio has also had some decent results and has shown that he's capable of competing with the best of the best. Pay driver or not, the Mexican is on a mission. What do you think about Sergio Perez? Does he deserve to be in Formula One, or should pay drivers be banned from the sport? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.